I found the missing girl. Then the rangers told me she was already safe. The first thing I remember is the name, slicing through the dawn mist. Elodie. It wasn't one voice. It was a chorus of them, ragged and desperate, tearing through the thin canvas of my tent. I sat bolt upright, the cold of the morning seeping through my sleeping bag. Outside, the familiar, gentle sounds of a campground waking up the hiss of a propane stove. The quiet murmur of conversation were gone, replaced by shouts, by panic. A frantic slapping sound on my tent flap. Corbin, get up. Now I fumbled with the zipper, the cold metal biting my fingers. My friend Reese was already laced into his hiking boots, his face pale in the gray light. Milo was just behind him, pulling a pack over his shoulders. The air was sharp, smelling of pine needles and cold earth. "What is it?" I asked, my voice thick with sleep. "Kid's gone," Milo said, his words coming out in puffs of white. "Wandered off in the night." The shouts grew louder, more numerous, as other campers joined the call. The name echoed off the trees, a haunting, looping cry. Elodie, Elodie. A cold stone settled in my gut. I'd seen her the evening before. A small girl with hair the color of straw, chasing fireflies with a mason jar near our campsite. I turned back into my tent, my hands moving automatically, pulling on clothes, my mind picturing the vast, unforgiving wilderness that bordered this little pocket of civilization. I thought of dark forests and unseen hollows, of stories you hear about people who just walk away. By the time I emerged, Reese and Milo were already at the edge of the woodline, their heads scanning the dense undergrowth. "What's the description?" I called out, jogging to catch up. A voice answered from behind us, belonging to a wiry guy in his 20s. 8 years old. Straw blonde hair, blue eyes. Elodie. Her dad said she was in her tent at 11, gone this morning. Flashlight and shoes are missing too. He was with 2 others, a man and a woman, all of them kitted out with serious-looking gear. They looked like they belonged on these trails. "They've checked the washrooms, the playground?" I asked, grasping for the most logical, the least terrifying explanation. The woman with them shook her head. "First places we looked. Nothing." "Look," the first guy said, his eyes hard with purpose. "The rangers are organizing a formal grid search, but it'll take time. They gave us the go-ahead to check the trailheads. She might have just followed a path. You guys in?" Reese looked at Milo, then at me. We all nodded. Our 3-day hike could wait. We grabbed the essentials from our campsite. I'd left my water bottle in the car, a stupid mistake, but Milo, always over-prepared, tossed me a spare. It was a battered metal thing with someone else's name, Corbin, scratched into the bottom. My name. A weird coincidence. We cinched our packs and headed for the main trailhead, leaving our tents standing like lonely sentinels. As we passed the missing girl's campsite, we heard it, a sound worse than the shouting, a woman's raw, guttural sobbing. A park ranger was kneeling beside her as she clutched a pink, unicorn-shaped pillow to her chest. The girl's father was standing nearby, his face a mask of frantic horror as a deputy tried to get a statement. We didn't look for long. We couldn't. We just walked faster. The image burned into our minds. Our new companions introduced themselves, Oren, Lyra, and Kaylin. Together, the 6 of us stood before the large wooden map at the trailhead, a network of veins spreading across the valley. There were 3 main paths: the artery, a grueling 5-mile ascent up the northern face; Cascade Run, a 4-mile switchback trail leading to a waterfall; and the circuit, an 8-mile loop that eventually connected back to where we stood. We decided to split up. Oren and Lyra would take the artery, Milo and Kaylin the Cascade Run. That left the circuit for Reese and me. We exchanged numbers, a futile gesture in a place where cell signals went to die, and agreed to be back in 7 hours before sunset. Oren and Lyra split off immediately, heading north into the steep incline. The rest of us continued east. We walked in near silence, the only sounds our boots on the packed earth and the name we called out every few minutes. Elodie. The silence that answered was heavy, profound. It felt like the forest was holding its breath. I tried not to let my mind wander, but every shadow looked like a small, huddled shape. Every rustle of leaves was the sound of a footstep. Around noon, we reached the fork for Cascade Run. Milo and Kalen veered off, their calls for Elodie soon swallowed by the trees. Reese and I pressed on, following the circuit as it began to climb. The trail grew steeper, winding up the mountain at a punishing angle. My lungs burned, and the calls for the missing girl became less frequent, replaced by ragged breaths. It had been a while since I'd hiked with a full pack. "Break," Reese gasped, pointing to a shaded spot beside a jagged outcropping of rock. We slumped down, shrugging off our packs and pulling out granola bars. We ate without speaking, the sound of our own chewing deafening in the quiet woods. We just sat, listening. And that's when I heard it. At first, I thought it was a bird. A high, thin cry, carried on the wind from somewhere above us, off the trail. I stopped chewing and grabbed Reese's arm. "Listen." He froze. A moment passed. Then it came again, clearer this time. A child's cry, muffled by distance and trees. We were on our feet in an instant. "Elodie," we yelled in unison, our voices raw. A faint, whimpering cry answered back. "She's up there," Reese shouted, a wild look in his eyes. We scrambled around the rock formation, leaving our packs behind. The supplies didn't matter, only the sound mattered. "Keep making noise, Elodie. We're coming," I yelled, my voice cracking. The terrain off-trail was treacherous. We slipped on loose scree and tangled roots, clawing our way up the steep incline, pulled forward by the sound of her cries. They grew louder, closer. We were almost there. Through the trees ahead, I saw a clearing, a strange plateau where the vegetation abruptly stopped. The ground changed, becoming a carpet of flat gray stones, like shattered slate. They were sharp and brittle under our boots, completely different from the rich earth of the forest. As we emerged from the tree line, the little girl's sobbing was unmistakable. We stepped into a large, circular glade made entirely of this dead gray stone. Nothing grew here. Not a single blade of grass, not a patch of moss. It was like a scar on the mountainside. "Elodie, where are you?" Reese called out, hands on his knees, panting. A small voice answered, seeming to come from the very center of the glade. Down here, in the middle of the clearing, was a low rise, a lip of stone pushed up from the ground. As we got closer, my blood ran cold. It wasn't a rise, it was the mouth of a hole. A perfect circle, about 7 feet across, plunging down into a darkness so absolute it seemed to drink the light. "God, Elodie, are you in there?" I yelled, my voice echoing into the abyss. "Yes," she sobbed back. Her voice sounded impossibly far away. "Are you hurt?" I can't stand up, damn it," Reese muttered, peering over the edge. "Corbin, you pack any rope?" "No. You?" He shook his head. "Are you bleeding, Elodie?" I shouted down. "I don't think so." Her voice was thin, weak. "It's too unstable," Reese said, kicking a loose piece of slate at the edge. It skittered and fell away, clattering against the sides before the sound vanished completely. This whole thing could collapse if we try to climb down. I yanked my phone from my pocket. No service. Of course, Reese tried his. Same result. "Go," I said, my voice tight. "Get back to the trail. Run. Get help. I'll stay with her. On it." He didn't hesitate, just turned and sprinted back towards the trees. "Hang on, Elodie," I called into the pit. "Help is on the way." The sound of Reese's footsteps faded, and an unnatural silence fell over the glade. The only sound was the wind whispering over the sharp edges of the stones. "Elodie," I called softly. A few seconds passed. Then, her voice, small and pleading. "Please come get me. It's really dark." I switched on my phone's flashlight and aimed it into the hole. The beam cut a weak cone through the oppressive black for a few feet, then was simply swallowed. I couldn't see the bottom. I couldn't see the bottom. I couldn't see her. "I promise, we're getting you out. It's just not safe for me to come down right now. I don't have the right gear." Every word felt like a lie, an excuse. She was a scared child trapped in the dark. I thought of my pack, sitting uselessly back on the trail. It had a headlamp, paracord, things that could help. "Elodie, listen. I've got a better flashlight in my pack on the trail. I'm just gonna run, and don't leave me," she shrieked. It wasn't a cry of fear. It was a scream of pure, raw rage. It was so loud, so violent, it made me flinch back from the edge. Okay, I said, my heart hammering. I'm not going anywhere. I'm right here. Silence again. As I stared into the opening, I noticed how unnaturally perfect the circle was. The stones around the rim looked less like a natural formation and more like they'd been stacked, fitted together with intention. This wasn't a sinkhole. This was constructed. Elodie, how did you end up down there? I fell. From up here. Or is there another way in? A pause. I slipped. From up here. But there were no signs of a collapse. No fresh dirt, no jumble of fallen rock around the rim. My leg hurts so bad, she whimpered, her voice suddenly small again. Can you please just come down? I'm so scared. I considered it. I truly did. But the hole was too wide to brace myself. The inner walls looked sheer and slick. It would be suicide. I can't. It wouldn't be safe for either of us. No response. Are you thirsty? I asked, remembering the water bottle clipped to my belt. Yes. I unclipped the bottle. Okay, Elodie, I'm going to drop this down to you. I need you to move all the way against the wall so it doesn't hit you. Can you do that? Okay. I listened. I heard nothing. No shuffling, no scraping of fabric on stone. Did you move to the side, Elodie? I did. Her voice was right below me, unchanged. I hesitated. Are you sure? This bottle's kind of heavy. I don't wanna. I moved. She screamed again, that same terrifying, adult rage. Okay, I muttered, unnerved. I held the bottle over the center of the black circle and let go. I waited for the thud, for it to hit dirt or rock, for a cry of pain if I'd misjudged. Nothing. Not a single sound. It was as if I'd dropped it into a vacuum. Did you get it? I asked, my voice trembling slightly. Silence. Elodie, did the water bottle reach you? My stomach twisted. Did I knock her unconscious? Elodie. I got it, she said, her voice suddenly calm, breaking the tension. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. God, don't scare me like that. I checked my phone again. Still no signal. It had been almost an hour since Reese left. It would be at least another before he got back with help. I sat on the cold stone, a wave of relief washing over me. We found her. She was alive. That's what mattered. I waited. The minutes stretched into an eternity. Then a scream erupted from the pit. A sound of pure, unadulterated terror that clawed at my soul. Elodie, what is it? What's wrong? There's something in here with me, she shrieked. Corbin, there's something else down here. What is it? Can you see it? I don't know. Please, come down here. Help me. Her voice was dissolving into hysterical sobs. My mind raced. Light. She needed light. I pulled off my hiking boot, yanked off my sock, and shoved my phone inside it, flashlight blazing. A meager cushion, but better than nothing. I'm dropping my phone. It has a light on, try to catch it, I yelled over her screaming, and let it fall into the darkness. I watched the faint glow through the sock plummet for a second, and then just vanish. Not like it hit the bottom. Like the darkness itself reached up and snuffed it out. Her screaming stopped, abruptly. Elodie, did you get the light? What did you see? Silence. A heavy, waiting silence. Elodie, answer me. I got it, she said. Her voice was flat, devoid of all emotion. Is the light on? I can't see anything from up here. A long pause. It broke. Oh, okay, that's fine. But you're okay now? The other thing, is it gone? Please just come down here, Corbin, she whispered. I froze. A single word. A name. My name. The name on the water bottle. I stood up slowly. Elodie, how do you know my name? The silence stretched on, thick and menacing. Answer me. How do you know my name? I demanded, my voice shaking. A small, dry giggle echoed up from the pit. It's on your bottle, silly. A wave of ice water washed through my veins. That's not my bottle, I whispered, backing away from the edge. A friend let me borrow it. There was no way she could have known. Reese never called me Corbin, not once. He called me Cor. Come down here, the voice said. It wasn't a child's voice anymore. It was a dry, rasping whisper, like dead leaves skittering across pavement. No. Come down here, it commanded, the voice deepening, cracking. Down here, help. Help me. The voice began to shift, cycling through different pitches, different timbres. A man's desperate shout, a woman's cry, a child's scream, all layered over one another in a horrifying chorus. I stumbled backward, falling hard onto the sharp slate as a new sound rose from the pit. A sound of wet tearing and of bone grinding against stone. Down, here, help her. The voice was no longer human at all. It was a legion, a discordant symphony of agony and hunger bellowing from the bowels of the earth. I scrambled to my feet and I ran. I ran blindly, crashing through the trees, down the steep slope of the mountain. The unearthly shrieks pursued me, seeming to come from every direction at once. I tripped and went sprawling, my hips slamming into a moss-covered stump, sending a blinding shock of pain through my body. I got up and kept running, limping, half falling, until my lungs were fire and my legs were jelly. I don't know where I hit the trail, but I knew which way led down. I ran until the screaming finally faded, and then I kept running until I saw a figure jogging up the path toward me. A ranger. "Don't go up there," I screamed, collapsing against a tree, gasping for air. "Easy, son. You're safe now. Are you hurt?" he asked, his face calm and steady. "You can't. Up there. That's not her." "It's not Elodie." He put a firm hand on my shoulder. "It's all right. Elodie is safe. Your friends found her an hour ago, halfway up the artery trail." He started guiding me down the mountain, his grip like iron. "Reese, is he okay? Did he make it down? Your whole crew is waiting for you at the campsite. You all did a good job today. We appreciate the help." We walked in silence for a while, my adrenaline-fueled panic slowly giving way to a chilling, profound confusion. "That place," I finally said, my voice barely a whisper. "The glade, the pit, what the hell is in it?" He glanced at me, and for a second, his calm facade cracked. I saw something in his eyes, a deep, weary exhaustion. He sighed. "Nothing you gotta worry about anymore," he said, his voice flat and final. Back at the campground, the rangers were shutting the entire area down. Reese and Milo rushed over, their faces a mixture of relief and confusion, but there was no time for explanations. We had to pack up and get out. Now. On the long, silent drive back to civilization, I told them everything. Reese went pale when I described the pit. He said when he found the ranger and told him what we'd found, the man's face went white as a sheet, and he was ordered to stay put until I was brought down. Apparently, when Oren and Lyra found the real Elodie, she was dazed and shivering. She told them she'd woken up in the night to go to the bathroom and heard her mom calling for her from the woods. So she followed the voice. She followed it deep into the forest until she got lost. Milo still thinks it was some elaborate prank, that I was just spooked by an echo in a cave, but Reese knows. He saw that place, and I know. I heard that voice. I hear it sometimes when the house is quiet and the night is dark. It whispers from the empty corners of my room, "Come down here." I haven't been hiking since. I don't think I ever will again. There are some places deep in the woods that aren't meant to be found, and there are some things, sleeping in the dark, that are better left undisturbed.